Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Why doesn't anyone want to repeat anything? Ever? Why is it not okay to repeat the same thing more than once now? Why do we have to go through it as fast as we possibly can and then throw it away? 9 lingue, cerco di parlare. 8. All right, so we're here with Serbia and Croatia.
Oh, Croatia!
I thought it was the same. They told me Serbia.
Oh!
The chief chanon.
No, ta cifra razza, no.
Why do you want to get there to the end as fast as possible when the journey is the thing that gives you all of the energy, the profound depth that you need in order to do the thing? It's not you reaching the end line. It's everything that you do in between. And I know this sounds like a crazy philosophical thing to start off this video with, but the truth is that the fact that you do not speak, the reason that you don't speak is because you are afraid to repeat so many and so much of the lessons and things that you are doing. Okay, listen, if you have a lesson, so many of you guys have been so close. And I know this because now we have so much data over so many learners over so many years now. No one wants to repeat. You watch a 15-minute podcast, you listen to a 15-minute audio, and you think that after that you have learned. You have not learned. What you are doing is recognizing the words. You recognize them. It is a first step in learning. If I can just plug our stuff here, which I will, I don't care because it works. Our first stage that we want you to get to in artificial immersion is the point of communication. You won't get to communication until you obviously are able to recognize and understand the context, the contextual learning, the contextual cues that you are receiving, okay? And we put you and want to put you in environments, situations in which they're controlled. That's the whole idea. We want you to feel like you have some form of control because you're trying to deal with a subject that's so vast that no one ever learns all of it. No one ever knows every single word in a language. No one has perfect accents and knows all the different grammar rules. No one ever learns the whole thing. So your goal first is to grasp that. That should always be the goal. So you're taking a lesson. You need to repeat this lesson. For me, the golden place is at least 3 times, all right? And for 3 days. For some people, I think it should be 5. And what that looks like in the course of a day is that you should always structure your learning where in the beginning, you are using all of your full energy. Stop studying at the end of your day after everything is done. Stop forgetting about the other language. How does that make any sense, right? So if you know in your mother tongue, it's constantly in your head. You're going to think like this when you want to do something. When you stub your toe, you're going to be doing this. In order for you to change, you have to change. You have to slow down. You have to repeat things. Stop trying to go so fast. And I know this is going to fly over the head. I always feel that no one's ever going to see any of these videos because I'm never offering anybody some crazy, insane secret to language learning. There's no perfect language learning thing. I don't ever peddle any of that. I'm not perfect at every language. I can speak and communicate. I'm fluent enough in the languages that I speak in order for me to live and be on my own and do interviews and conduct interviews and do all that stuff. And I know that that is the first step. Refinement, going deeper, is a second step, okay? And so if you are out there and if you have tried to learn another language and things aren't sticking, but you feel like, I did this and I recognize, and like when people talk to me, I don't understand, but then I can't talk. I know you can't talk because it's not deep enough. It's not deep enough at all. And it won't get deep enough into your language thinking, language learning brain unless you repeat it, all right? You have to also make this a thing in your life. When I say that you have to change, it looks like, and I was just having this discussion with somebody who is just doing our artificial immersion intense course, right? Where they have 3 tutor lessons a week. We break down everything that they need. Their tutor is, everything's aimed at a goal after 2 weeks, then 4 weeks, then 6 weeks. And obviously, if you're just joining artificial immersion, if this is the first video you've ever seen, our goal at the beginning is to get you to that stage. So anyway, I know today's video is more of a rant, but it's just something that lives in my head because you constantly see it. I run into people all the time. They tell me about their language learning journey. They say the same things over and over again. You guys have put in so much freaking time. I'm not going to waste too much time today shitting on Duolingo, but it has to be said because so many people out there still come in and say they've been doing it and wasting their time. So don't do that, first off. Second off, set yourself the structure. If you can get anything out of this rant, you need to set yourself a simple structure, one with which you can keep, one with which that'll also remind you that when you are going to do push-ups, when you're going to the store, when you're thinking about little notes, when you're jotting little notes for your day, when you're wanting to do anything, ¿por qué no estás escribiendo en español? Si estás aprendiendo español, ¿por qué no lo estás haciendo? I want for so many people out there who have tried for so long. You just need to get to stage 1. Stage 1 is the point with which you will no longer, you won't drown. I talk about this all the time, and I know with absolute certainty the amount of people who have tried to learn a language who have not gotten to the point where they can just float in the water. I'm telling you, your goal is not fluency first. It is communication first, and then you can go. You can go back and look at some of the even other videos from years past where I might make mistakes, might do this stuff. You're watching me develop a method in which it allows me to float. And then later on, you're going to go fast forward. You're going to see, wow, what happened? Why does he speak like that? How is he? What? That? Because the first stage is floating. Communication. I am not out here trying to teach you how to do the brush stroke or the whatever the hardest stroke is in swimming on your first day of swimming. Why would I do that? Why is everyone racing to fluency when you need to float first? It doesn't make any sense. And so it also doesn't make sense for you to be studying all the rules, right? Of course, yeah. Well, study the ocean currents and figure out what is and all this. And actually, I'm gonna throw some points here for anybody who knows where this location is. I guess I'll give you that right there. All right, so you can try and figure out where in the world this is, because I won't be there here tomorrow. Get some structure, repeat everything that you can. And I know that this is truly one of the greatest friends. This reminds me of one of our original videos, like the first ones where I just turned the freaking camera on and was just pissed and was just screaming at you guys and really more at the world, because I cannot understand how we've gotten to this point. Americans and people from the UK and Australia all get made fun of because they only, for the most part, speak English. And they all think that it has something to do with the egocentric nature of these countries. And then you go and you dig deeper, as I've been to something like 70 countries, and I start asking them about their second language acquisition. I start checking the research, start seeing the funding, all this stuff for, guys, we have a book coming, right? And no, not a normal old school style book, none of that shit. You have to have some understanding, okay, that everything that they have taught us to do in school is almost nonsense. It's shit, okay? And we can get out of this if we harness the skills that we have in order to pay attention, chunk things down, make it simple, get a structure, and then that's it. You're done, okay? So, whatever, that's it. I don't care. This is my rant for today. I don't care if anybody, I hope it helps some people. That is, if it doesn't help you, screw you. I don't care. I feel better. Okay? So don't do Duolingo, and we'll see you later. All right, that's the video. Bye.